Good evening, everyone in the bunker. Well, good morning if you're watching this in the morning, but this is evening where I am here. And tonight, I'm interviewing someone. I'm interviewing Chris Winterburn from the Isle of Man. And he has a great wee game called Weird Alchemy. So let's introduce Chris. Chris, say hi.
Hey.
Now, you'll probably notice something right away. I think Andy is a wee bit beardist because I get to interview everyone that has a beard these days. It just seems to be a thing, and that's a mighty fine beard you have going there, Chris. Last time I saw you, that wasn't on your face. So
well, I had goatee. I had a little goatee last time you saw me.
Little goatee, yeah. But you've joined the big leagues now.
Yeah, during summer, which seemed like a good idea at the start. But my face is really warm.
This is going to be the new normal going forward for most guys, probably most gamers, to be honest. We're all going to have big, mighty beards by the end of this lockdown. So, don't know how the lockdown's affecting you. I've already mentioned you're in the Isle of Man. So, I mean, what's the gaming scene like on the Isle of Man?
Oh, we've got a pretty good community. I mean, if we ever need anything play testing, or if we just want to play games, I know at least six to 10 people that would usually be up for a game, and then there's a load more that time dependent would be up for it as well. There's gaming clubs as well, a couple of gaming clubs. So yeah, and because it's 80,000 people on a small island, the gaming community is quite close knit. So everybody does pretty much know everybody, and then the board gamers as well tend to know the war gamers and so on, so forth. So yeah,
excellent. No, that's good to hear. I mean, I've been to the Isle of Man a few times in my life, not that many, mainly to go and see motorbikes. It is Motorbike Island. For anybody watching in America or further afield, the Isle of Man is the world capital of motorbike racing. Wasn't so sure how the gaming scene would be over there, but no, it's good to hear that there are a couple of clubs. So yeah,
and the motorbikes were great fun for the first couple of years that we lived here, and then it got harder to get to places because of the races, and then you start cursing them. And I think the last time I actually went anywhere near one of them was 8 years ago. Just tends to obstruct quite a lot of what you need to do sometimes.
So I met you over in Essen, and we sort of clocked each other and went, hold on, I recognize something about your accent and vice versa. So
yeah,
you
it's not German.
Belfast. Yeah. It wasn't German, yes.
Yeah.
we stood out in that crowd.
Yeah.
So you lived in Belfast, yes?
Yeah, I lived in Belfast for 8 years, from 2003 to 2011.
Okay, and you escaped. You're one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, I mean, Belfast was brilliant. Really liked Belfast, but then the kids started to grow up, and there was a bomb in a taxi found on our estate. So that was, we'll leave. We'll go back home for a bit.
Usually a good time to get out.
Yeah, but I mean, it was pretty good to us, Belfast. So I've not really got anything bad to say about it. Quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, a lot of motorbikes.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. Well, anyway, listen, never mind all that. Let's talk about your game, Weird Alchemy, which I picked up from you in lesson. And let me actually look at this. You even signed the inside of the box for me.
I signed so many. So, I didn't realize it made me feel.
Tell us about where this came from, how this came about, and then tell us a bit about the game.
How it came about, it was about 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I thought, you know what, I'll have a go at designing a board game. So I thought, let's do something. Let's start with something simple. This was only after I really found new wave board gaming. Up until it's probably a bit longer. About 7 years ago, I was like a lot of war gaming. So I did a lot of Warhammer and Dead Zone, things like that. But then I found that there were more interesting board games than what I was used to when I was young, like Monopoly and that sort of thing. And I purchased, I think the first one I purchased was Race for the Galaxy, which is still one of my favorite games. And I thought to myself, why don't I have a go at this? So I started creating this pass the card game. So a bit like Uno, but with, my own set of rules. And then, I got to a point where I'd created it. And I had this game. And I had a prototype, which I made out of bits of card put into sleeves. And then I didn't know where to go from there. So I had this game and I played it with a few people and they were like, yeah, that's pretty good. But then it got to that point where, I had no contact with anybody that could tell me where to go from there. So stupidly, instead of going and trying to do research and find out, I put it on a shelf and left it. And then it was sat on a shelf for years. Then I said to myself, this maybe 3 years ago, I think I'll design a game again. And I started designing a game this time not a simple one that would be easy. I thought I'll make a strategy game. So I started creating a strategy game and got to the point where I had that at a really nice prototype level. And again, the same thing happened. I was like, oh, I've got this really good prototype. Where do I go now? And again, I got this game and put it onto a shelf and left it. Then I met a guy called Dan, who's now my best friend and business partner in Clever Unicorn Games. And one day we were playing, after we'd known each other for a few months, we played games with each other at a gaming club. And he came around to my house and we were playing a game. And he asked me, you know, have you ever thought about designing games? And I went, well, actually. And then I went out to my shelf and grabbed Fractured Galaxy, which was a strategy game that I'd made, and showed it to him. And he went, let's do this. And I was like, what? And he says, let's do this. And unbeknownst to me at the time, he had the capital to then help me do games. So that's how the company formed, just on chance.
Dan was with you in Essen, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. Dan's the other guy with the beard, the American guy.
Right. Okay. So what's Dan's story? How did Dan end up in the Isle of Man? From America to the Isle of
Man? Dan's a software pioneer, so I don't ask because it's beyond me what he does, but he has a software company which does certain things, and it just happened to be that he was looking for somewhere nice to live in the Europe area, and I think he just put a pin in the map, and the Isle of Man was the Isle of Man was where it ended up. Plus, I think his other company in that as well is based over in the UK, so it's close to the UK, but you know, not actually the UK. So, yeah, and that's how we ended up over here, and it was just chance. You met Dan at the time. Yeah, he did have his big bushy beard at the time, big grey bushy beard. That's kind of how he looked when he came to the club. I don't think he minds me telling this story. The first time we ever met was I was playing a board game at one of our wargaming clubs, and he came in. Like, he just randomly heard about the club and came in and was sat in the corner just watching everybody. And I thought, oh, some homeless guys got lost. And I invited him over to play a game with us. And that was it. That was how we met. So he wandered in one night, and I took pity.
That's how
and it turns out one of the nicest guys that I could have met. And now we've got a company. So yeah, just like that.
So there you were, and you had your sort of start with Weird Alchemy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We had the strategy game, but we thought, you know, I've got this other card game which I spent quite a bit of time designing and stuff. We might as well do something with that first, as a card game is a lot easier to take to market, or Kickstarter in this case, and might be a good way of us finding out the ins and outs and the workings of Kickstarter through that. In a simpler one, which is a lot cheaper to create, there's a little bit less risk in it. So we did that. We decided to go with that first. Then there was the case of, oh, well, it doesn't look very good because it's just you drawn out with your clip art and stuff printed out and cut out. We need to find an artist. Luckily, for the style that we wanted, a friend of mine since I was about 8 years old, Joe Moore, who's a well-known illustrator in the field, he had some free time to help us out. So we spoke to him, told him what we wanted. Him and myself went back and forth and came up with these creatures and all of these artworks, and then he painted them, and yeah, it sort of went from there. That's all we really needed to do. The rules haven't really changed from that original one. It was just that we needed a nice look for it, and luckily he knocked it out of the park with what he did.
If anybody hasn't seen, we'll get some of the artwork up in a link, and if you want to stick a link up in the video tomorrow as well, or whenever we get this uploaded. But the artwork is really, really quite nice. So yeah.
And unique, yeah, the way he managed to take something, you know, like the fantasy theme and then put his own spin on it using his own style means that, it doesn't really look like anything that anybody else has done. It's also up, it's up on Tabletop Simulator now as well. So if you have Tabletop Simulator, you can search for Weird Alchemy Special Edition, and the full Special Edition, not including the Kickstarter cards, obviously, but the Special Edition, which is the base game and the expansion that you get in the Special Edition box, are on Tabletop Simulator for free now. As long as you've got Tabletop Simulator, you can go download it and look at all the artwork and play the game. So I figured that out myself. Figured Tabletop Simulator out myself last week, or this week even, beginning of this week. So
excellent. So Then came Fractured Galaxy, which was on Kickstarter recently.
Yeah, we messed that up.
I was trying to think of a subtle way, but you beat me there.
Yeah, well, everything that could go wrong with that Kickstarter pretty much went wrong. So, we learned a lot from it. But
is it coming back to Kickstarter again?
At some point, unfortunately, this pandemic's put a big boot on most of the things that I was doing in the real physical board game sort of things until it's all out of the way and truly cleared up with vaccines and stuff. So it is going to be coming back again. We'll be doing a bit with it, changing it around, maybe retheming it a little bit, getting some new artwork. But yeah, we'll come around again because the game itself, I mean, nobody's disliked it. So
yeah.
The game system's perfect the way it is. We just need to, the thing about Kickstarter, probably controversial, but the thing about Kickstarter is if it doesn't look amazing, you're going to struggle unless it's cheap as hell. And then, it's a balancing act, value versus attractive aesthetics. Yeah. Is the way forward.
I don't disagree with you. There's a lot of truth in what you're saying.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just see card games sort of like the same size as Weird Alchemy, and they're going for like 4,000 times overfunded or whatever. And
it's amazing. Yeah, there's a few I've seen. I'm not going to mention any names, obviously,
so
but
next time they launch it, whenever that is. I know I'll be following and jumping on board there because I enjoy Weird Alchemy, so I like your existing game. It's a very good family game, by the way, so if anybody get on to Chris here, order a copy of it and get playing that with family. It's going to be a family game.
I've actually put a mini version of a similar sort of thing to Fractured Galaxy up on Tabletop Simulator as well. Rules completely different, but it's a small area control game which I just created for free in a day and used some of the assets I had from Fractured Galaxy and put that onto Tabletop Simulator as well. And there's a print and play version, so people in lockdown can actually play that right now, which is it's a simple area control game called Fractured System, which I'll put a link to in the video when it goes live, but you can also search for it. That's very much a case of I created it in a day. I didn't even play it. It worked in my head. So I created it, put it onto Tabletop Simulator, and then later on, I think it was the day after, I got a friend of mine to come and play it with me. Turns out it works. So yeah, that was good. Just had to tweak a few things here and there.
Excellent, good stuff.
And the reason it's up there as well is so that the community, the Unicorn Collective, our group, our community, can actually take it, mess around with it, play with it, give me feedback, and we can change it and work with it, work on it together.
Just on that, you mentioned the Unicorn Collective. Go on, explain. Tell us a bit about the collective there. I mean,
it's basically it's a community group for any gamers to come and join. It's a group where we want the community to build together. There's a lot of groups out there which are good at this. They bring the community together, but there's a lot of ads in them. They're always advertising, but we didn't want that. So we planned with the Unicorn Collective from the start. We don't do paid advertisements. People want to advertise, that's fine. They can post their Kickstarter or whatever once, and then every 24 hours bump it and give themselves a bit of advertisement. To be honest, if they approach me and say, "Hi, I've got this Kickstarter, can you post it for me?" I'll post it up there. That's fine. I won't charge them any money. That's perfectly fine. But we're not going to be taking money just to flood the page with adverts from different things and stuff. So we keep it to the case of there might be an advertisement here and there for somebody posting the stuff, but mostly it's conversations about games that people are playing, new games and old games, because a lot of groups tend to focus on new games that are being released and old games get left behind. So we like to play some old games and post them up and get other people to as well. So it's basically that sort of thing. Yeah.
Excellent. That's actually a nice segue to the next question.
Yeah.
What would be your top 3 go-to games? They can be old games, they can be new games, any genre.
3 is not enough. I've got about 30. In fact, can I list 100? Start. Yeah.
Well,
okay. I'll start at 100 and work backwards. 100. No. 3. 3's hard though. Well, number 1 is always Dominant Species.
Okay. Just doesn't have to be top 3. Just your top list of games.
Yeah. Well, no, we'll go with 3. So number 1 is Dominant Species. You ever played Dominant Species?
I have not. No.
GMT game. You ever played GMT games like Cuba Libre or something like that, or Fire in the Sky? Yeah, it's one of those which is a departure from the usual historical war game sort of thing. It's an action placement area control game where you're all different species of animals and you have to fight. It's brilliant. It's, in my opinion, it's a perfect game. Perfect length, perfect mechanics, nothing in it that can be changed. It's not the prettiest game in the world, like a lot of GMT games. It's come a long way. It's on its like 5th edition now, so it's quite popular. And it looks a lot better than it used to if you see some old versions of it. But I think it's one of those that doesn't need to look amazing. It's just a good game in itself. Like I say, I probably wouldn't change the artwork the way it works. So that'd be number one.
That brings us back to that balance you're talking about earlier. Sometimes games look really, really pretty on Kickstarter, but they're crap when you play them.
Yeah,
it's not always about the look, just about how it plays. It's more important, you know. But anyway, sorry.
And again, some of the best games in the world, undisputedly, are ugly as hell. Games like Nations, my favorite civilization building game. Have you ever played Nations? Yeah. Nations is brilliant, and the artwork's not bad, but it's a bit drab. You know, there's no color really to it. It's all browns and you know, beiges and things. Brilliant game. You know, I'd play that. If anybody says, "Do you want to play Nations?" every time, yes, I will play. Top 3, possibly. I think I might put Nations up there. It's another heavy one, but yeah, I think Nations. Let's go number 2, Nations. There you go.
Okay. Top spot, drum roll. Let's go.
No, Dominant Species is top spot. I'm going 1 to 3.
Oh, sorry, going the other way. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
3 though. Now I've got so many that I could try and plug into 3. Feast for Odin recently. Played Feast for Odin. That's really good. Brass, both Lancashire and Birmingham. Very, very good. And just out there, just for something completely different, Galaxy Trucker. That's always fun. You ever play Galaxy Trucker?
Yes, it's very good.
More fun for watching.
Actually, about a year ago now, yeah.
It's more fun. Yeah. It's more fun for playing with new people and just watching them create things that just won't survive the first card flip. It's brilliant. seeing them fly into the last card with maybe just the command module with 2 guys next to the rest all been blown off. Yeah, brilliant. Is it my top 3? Ooh, I don't know. Keyflower, there's another good one. Let's put that at number 3. Keyflower is really good. Keyflower for number 3. You play Keyflower?
Going to number 4 then.
Yeah, it's up there. It's definitely up there. Sure. In fact, I'm going to go, after I've done this video, I'm going to go back and go, why didn't I put this at number 2? Why didn't I put this at number 3?
I'll tell you what to do. Go for your top 10 and stick it into the video whenever this gets put up.
Yep, I will do. In fact, you'd probably, if you look me up on Board Game Geek, you'd probably be able to tell my tastes on there. I think last time I checked, I'd played 67 of the top 100. So I'm trying to get through that top 100.
Excellent. Just on Board Game Geek, I did notice Weird Alchemy gets 7.2. That's quite a respectable score for a first game. Let's be honest. Yeah. You know, so
we paid for most of that though.
Shh. We didn't hear that.
No, to be honest, when we did a few competitions and a few likes came in from the competition. We didn't ask them to like I don't think we asked them to like the Board Game Geek and stuff, but there's a few in there that have raised it up a little bit, I would have thought. There's also one in there recently, if you look at it, which is a 1 out of 10 where the guy said he's burning the game. So there's good ones and there's bad ones.
That's almost like a badge of honor to get somebody to actually hate a game so much. I'm going to burn this game, you know?
I know. The funny thing about that one, though, is he initially said that it was the worst game he'd ever played and it was terrible and he didn't like it. And then we gave him a refund. We found him and we gave him a refund because he was that unhappy on the review. So we refunded him the money. So we had a free game and got the money back. You then went in and edited it and made the review even worse and said he was going to burn the game. So that was an interesting one. But yeah, I like to think most people that when you see them posting it up that they've played it on their Instagram or their Facebook and they link us in, usually it's good. So that's good. That always makes me happy when there's people genuinely sat around the table playing it and they say they've had a good time. That's why I did it. I certainly didn't do it for the money, as most games designers will tell you. Because there isn't any.
Yeah, it's hard to make a living on it. The chosen few get to.
Well, we all want to be the next Jamie Stegmaier, but you don't always get there.
Well, listen, Chris, it's been great chatting to you here, and hopefully you'll come back and give us an update with Fractured Galaxy and everything else. And we'd like to see you on the bunker. And if there's anything else you'd like to say, The
Well,
podium's not yours.
I never refuse an interview, so you've got that.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, well, it's good to have you, and we look forward to seeing what else comes out of Clever Unicorn in the years ahead. And best of luck with your next go Kickstarter.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, all the best. We'll chat soon.